Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode from the Productivity Mastery podcast. Today, I have a very interesting guest that I had a chance to actually meet and get to know. Let's give a shout out to our great friends from Wolf Summit for the opportunity to create such a great event in the region that we operate in Central Eastern Europe, connecting fantastic people from the investment community, from the startup community, consultants, speakers, and really making a great event where we had a chance to meet together with Angelo and actually grab by a beer at the networking and crack a lot of jokes. But apart from that, I really connected with Angelo in his way of thinking and his knowledge and wisdom. He's a managing partner at AI Startup Incubator, residing in Prague, but operating globally. And we were having a discussion and talking of what could be a very interesting topic to explore. And I feel like this is not a topic that at least I've been covering and the guests of the podcast have been covering. And it might sound a little specific to some of you, but I promise you some of the learnings can be applied to any kind of business. So stay with us. Angelo, buongiorno, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Stoyan. I'm great, thank you, and thanks for having me on this platform of yours. I'm really glad to be with you today and the audience. So, as you said, the topic of discussion for today is bootstrap and fundraising, which, as you said, is specific, but also I think that is pretty general because it does entail a lot of things that comes with the early stage of kicking off a business for a startup. So I think
Yeah,
it could be an interesting one.
super excited to dig into that. But before that, it would be actually relevant for the audience maybe to understand more about who is Angelo Burgarello. So why don't you lead us a little bit through, where did you grow up, a little bit more about your professional background, and how did you end up actually being a managing partner at AI Startup Incubator?
Sure thing. I think it's interesting, and a lot of people can also relate with my story because I'm an Italian, originally from Sicily, living in Prague. So I've been going up and up from Sicily up until Central Europe, and I have a background in engineering. I actually have a bachelor degree in civil engineering and a master degree in industrial engineering and management. Um, and I have I moved to Prague roughly almost 9 years ago now. After a couple of work experience in Italy, but I had always this feeling that I wanna expand my borders, kind of, yeah, getting to know new culture, new something that is completely new and really far away from all the things that I've seen in my life before. So this was kind of the drive that pushed me to move outside of Italy at the beginning. This kind of willingness to know the unknown. Yeah, but let's put it like this because this is really what it is, and kind of starting from zero, where all the things that I would eventually see around me are completely built from scratch by myself. So that was that was the drive that pushed me to move to Czech Republic, and I found in Czech Republic like a place full of opportunities, a place that was growing really fast at the time that I moved in, and so all the pieces of the puzzle were kind of matching for me to stay here. And I start working in the corporate space. I start a couple of my own businesses. I start working as a consultant, as a business consultant on technology for some big companies here in Czech Republic. Thing that I kind of still doing, not 100% because I'm practically 100% allocated to AI Startup Incubator now, but sometimes on the free spots I do some work here and there also for some company on the consulting space, which is really fun. And engaging, and I like it anyway to keep in touch with some of my previous clients. So I still love to do that.
So keep that in
Thanks.
mind. The listeners, keep that in mind. If you like what Angelo is having to say, he's open for corporate gigs here and there. So keep it up, Angelo.
Depends. And then within this consulting service space, I was in touch with AI Startup Incubator at the beginning. And this is kind of how I got in touch with the business. And there was an organizational change within the company at the time that I joined. So it was kind of also a good spot where I have kind of demonstrated my capabilities and my knowledge in helping the business, and there was also the right opportunity. Yeah. So it's always about being ready and the timing, the right timing being there. Yeah. And this is true for any kind of professional, but also, and even more important, for startups. So that was
Could you,
also something that applied for myself.
could you maybe share with us what is AI Startup Incubator and how do you guys support startups?
Sure. So AI Startup Incubator is an early stage AI startups investor um, that invest in technology, in the sense of because AI, it's a kind of a little bit of a buzzword, but what we really do is investing in the startup that have a special and specific approach related to the artificial intelligence technology, no matter which kind of specific one they may deploy. Could be natural language processing, could be machine learning, and whatsoever. But we are looking for that company that has created a special approach using this technology, or is acting in a specific niche or space where uh, the connection that they have and the product that they've built will put them in the future in a competitive advantage position against the others, thanks to the artificial intelligence. So to put it in a simple way, we invest in startup where the artificial intelligence make a difference and can make a huge difference in the future in terms of the competitive landscape. So that's kind of
And how
the
does
main two things.
yeah, I mean, people look at the listen to the podcast and they see Angelo is a managing partner, but what do you actually do in terms of, if you can think of, what are the
What are my
three things
daily
that I spend most time of, or how does your day look like? I think it's interesting to hear.
You look, usually investment companies in startup VCs like have not huge teams. Yeah, if we're not talking about like really huge organizations, and there are just few of them in the world, the team is really small at the end of the day. Yeah, well, our core team is made by 7, 8 people. Yeah, so we all share a lot of different tasks, and unfortunately, I'm holding a big chunk of them. So, but I can, as you say, the three main of those are um, taking care of the business analysis part at the beginning. Yeah, I'm kind of the lead, the one that say, okay, actually, the business potential of this startup has been evaluated properly, or I see those concerns. So let's get back and ask more these questions. Sometimes I'm also directly involved in the conversation with the founders, and I'm the one leading the conversation on the business analytic side of things with the startup. Um, on the other end, I'm then the person that take care of the investment agreement together with the legal. So I take care of the commercial negotiation part, and I'm also involved in making sure that the investments matches with the investment strategy that we have, both on a theoretical part, let's say qualitative part, but also on a quantitative side, because there is a little bit of math to do also. Yeah, it's not just magic like many people think and many people say. on the internet. Yeah, but there is a lot of let's say preparation and forecast involved in order to see where things can move. You should be ready to understand what are all the possible potential outcomes, and see which one of those are the one that you're betting in, when doing an investment. And this is really related to what startup founders should do when talking to an investor. Because what an investor is doing, is doing two things. First of all, is betting on you as a team leader, and is betting on your idea, but what of your idea is actually betting on. This is something that you should understand. Is betting on the fact that it believes you have a great technology, is betting on the fact that no matter what happened, you are the right person to bring this project to success, or you strongly believe that there is a market fit, a market potential there. Why you think this? There are many things, but usually there is one of those reasons that stand out, and it's a bet. That's what sparkle the candle, and let you say, okay, this is something I want to go. Then you get back and you go and you do the rationale. You say you do the calculation. You say, okay, the market is this one. The potential that the company has to acquire a big chunk of the market is this one. How fast it can happen? How much money will need? How much times it will raise, and how fast it will do that? So this translates in how fast it will grow and how fast the investor can gain returns. And this is the part that become obscure because you don't know what is going to happen. So you make assumptions, but educated assumptions. And this is the important thing to understand, because everybody is able to create like amazing projections that are showing that your company is valued $30 million directly from scratch. But the reality is another. And sometimes it's really simple, Stoyan, because you look at those projections, right? And you see that in order to achieve a certain amount of revenue, yearly or monthly revenue, this, according to your business model, will translate to a specific number of clients. If you have a team of 2 people and you want to onboard in a specific industry where the life cycle to acquiring a client is 6 months, you want to onboard 100 clients, and you want to do this in 1 year, do you think it's feasible? I think it's a simple math, So and this is sometimes something that happens. Don't show projections just based on the numbers. It's not the revenue that counts. What it counts is that you show the assumption that those revenue are feasible. So you need to show the numbers that are behind the revenues. Behind the sales, there is the team, there is the sales cycle, there is your ability to put yourself in a better position than the competitors, and having a product that is immediately ready to serve the client needs. So if those things are not there, don't tell to investors that you're going to make $1 million in the next 6 months, because nobody will believe that. And it's really easy to see that this is not going to be achieved. Then if the investors still invest, there may be other reasons why. But you will have a talk about those sales anyway, sooner or later.
Thank you, Angelo, for sharing this, because I think so useful for especially early stage founders and aspiring entrepreneurs, many of which are listening to this podcast, to try and put themselves in the shoes of the investor, and instead of when they're pitching or trying to raise, let's say, looking at from their perspective, try and see how can I create value for the investor. It's a win-win situation, and we're going to speak quite a bit about that, I hope, during the conversation. But I want to start with the question which is hidden in the title, which is, when would you recommend entrepreneurs, founders, to actually bootstrap and not look for investors? And when is it a good time for them to look into fundraising?
So I'll try to be short about this, Stoyan, even if it's the core of the conversation. The problem in my opinion, is very, very simple. Yeah. I used to call this the dilemma of the first time entrepreneur. Yeah. If to fundraise or bootstrap. And the reason is that you should ask yourself why you should fundraise. Because bootstrapping is kind of the natural path when you open a business. Yeah. When you start your own project, usually you start it on your own, and by yourself. Then you get involved with your peers around you. You start looking for somebody that can help you, a co-founder, yeah, and you kick off the very first early tasks, the very first action item table that you need to work on in order to start with. And then you realize that, yeah, of course, you can go organically and acquire your first client. Yeah, don't paying yourself a salary. Just make it for the company to grow. You can acquire the second client, the third client, and you know that after you have 5 clients, big enough clients, maybe your business become also self-sustainable. You can get a couple of $100 for you, yeah, and growing from that point. That will work if you have, for example, it could be a pizzeria. I'm Italian, I love pizza, so let's use that. It could be a pizzeria, right? You can have some cash by the side to do the initial investment. You rent the place, you start. The first clients are coming in a 3-6 months, ideally. You will break even, and the business is going to be self-sustainable. You bootstrap practically, yeah. But but the pizzeria is not a startup, yeah, because the pizzeria is not a business model that is kind of unknown, or it's not acting in the innovation space. It's something that has exist, and and the rules around it are pretty clear. Startups are more of an unknown field. They're acting more of an unknown field. There are things that you can try creatively and maybe will work or maybe will terribly fail. Yeah, you need to try and testing. There is no blueprint exactly to success for a startup, because it really depends from many parameters that you cannot predict. What you really need to do is do your preparation well. Yeah, talk to the right people, ask the right questions, gather the right amount of information to make educated decisions. Yeah, and try to do not be deluded or biased by the fact that the startup is your baby and your baby only, and you want to be the only one trying to grow it, because this is the bad spot where you will find yourself not understanding the reality, yeah, but taking care only of the inner reality inside yourself. Yeah. So I'm kind of diverging from the original point, but with that, what I want to say is that there is no right spot to say, okay, I should bootstrap or I should fundraise. Yeah, you need to understand where you are at the moment that you are asking your question, because people are founders are usually scared of two main things. Yeah, one is, okay, I'm gonna give too much equity too early, to investors, and this could be true. And the other is I'm going to lose control of my company. Those are the biggest fear that founders have at the early stage of creating a business. And I'm saying here, and I don't want to be biased, but this could be true in certain positions, but it is completely wrong on certain others, because there are other important factors that founders should take care of. Yeah, one of those is that according to the type of business that you are trying to uh, move up, there is a time window that you need to work into. Yeah, could be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Yeah, and if you don't make it by the time window, it's late. Yeah, so this is where you need to understand and have a proper plan, a proper roadmap to say, this is the time frame and this is the amount of money that I need, to make it within the time frame before it's too late. Yeah, because If you bootstrap and the business is super successful, you will be slower than anybody else with a huge amount of cash, which can, no matter how difficult is your business to copy, yeah, there will always be a way to make something similar. And in a capitalistic world, what it counts is the amount of resources that you have at hands. The more resources you have, the easier it is for somebody to do the same business that you're doing. You have protections. You may have a strong IP, yeah, but sooner or later, somebody will do something similar, slightly different, and can get a chunk of the market that you could have got with the right amount of resources. So understand in which space are you acting right now, and what is the goal that you have on the midterm. Is what tells you I need to raise now, or it's too early. Yeah, because as a startup, 95% of the times you need to raise money. Yeah, because you want to grow fast and you want to make sure that nobody else, yeah, will enter the same market or will not tap into the same amount or chunk of the market that you are planning to tap into, because sooner or later this is going to happen. Like a nice nice example is this is probably pretty simple in pretty similar in other countries too, but I was reading some statistic of the product that sell the most in the Czech Republic for IKEA. Yeah. Do you know what is the product that sold the most among the last few years?
No idea.
Then it was candles. Yeah, candles. Somebody saw that, yeah, and suddenly you have a lot of e-commerce that pop up selling candles of all different styles. Yeah, bio. You have the one with the special materials that is no harmful. The one with a nice design and so on. But candles. So sooner or later, somebody's gonna see that something is working and is gonna do something similar. Yeah, there is no way. Yeah, you need to be big enough and go fast enough to that market so that
And
nobody else.
you're not IKEA, so you don't have the resources to follow through if some of the big guys actually decides to
But
cut.
there is even that's usually something that scare people. Yeah, it can happen. There are big companies kind of using you, and I also want to say that there are certain programs that are from big companies. Yeah, there are kind of golden cages. Yeah, there are golden cages. I don't want to get deep into that, but yeah, you need to pay attention as an entrepreneur, but also don't be scared, because investors don't really want to steal ideas. Investors do not have time to steal idea. They are looking for somebody who's able to realize their own ideas. Yeah. So NDAs, all those problems with sharing plans and information or technical information is completely unfounded fear. Yeah, because nobody has time or even the willingness, yeah, to steal the idea. From an investment point of view, this is usually very true. On the corporate side, could be different, but I wouldn't call myself an expert in the field, so I don't want to really get deep into that.
Right. Okay. We have somebody actually commented, Andrei Semchuk. And thank you for being with us, Andre. He says, guys, great content, not enough marketing, but I've just seen it by accident on LinkedIn. I will make sure to to prioritize the live session marketing as well. But Andre, if you have any question, by the way, to those of you who are listening live, if you have a question to Angelo, make sure to post it in the comments. We'll try to take some questions so we can make it even more relevant for you. Thank you, Andre, for being with us. Uh, Angelo,
Thanks, Andre.
I want to imagine there is a early stage team. They're maybe not in a stage that they need to raise yet. What do you think from your experience are the top three mistakes early stage founders do when it comes to what they focus on, maybe mindset? Like, what are the top three mistakes early stage founders do?
Um, So lack of validation, it's something that I see really often. Yeah, because somehow you think about something, a solution that could be great, but you don't really validate it enough with the people that will eventually buy it. So you end up doing two mistakes. You create a product that you believe is going to work, yeah, but you can already know at the beginning that the feasibility was not great, from a willingness to be purchased from your potential clients because of different reasons. The other one is that if you do not involve enough and you don't validate your product enough, since the very early stage phases, when you have just like numbers and words in a Word file, you end up creating a product that is a fit for what you think is going to work and not for what the clients really need. Yeah. You stay there spending a lot of time thinking, yeah, but I think this is going to work because this feature is going to be amazing. You visualize it. You say you think it's amazing, and all the other founders think the same. Yeah, but you are biased by your own ideas. Yeah. So within this process should always be a huge involvement of those stakeholders that will be your clients. And
And just want to add on top of this, because I work with many startup founders in early stages through coaching, acceleration programs, founders individually, and as you said, they're afraid to go and they call it, I don't want to sell yet because we don't have the product ready. I'm like, you're not selling, man. You gotta talk to people. It doesn't have to be a very structured survey you make on whatever. Like, no, talk to people all the time. Like, this is your
yeah,
product. Go and who are the people that you are thinking that might be your potential audience? Talk to them.
yes,
Would you buy this product? Is that feature giving you value? If we are to do this in this price range, is that something that you guys are gonna buy? But tell me the truth. Like, tell me
mm-hmm.
what doesn't work in here and collect as much data as you can. Doesn't mean you have to listen to it, but
Yes,
for the most part, you understand what. There was a case we actually featured it in the book. In our book, Perform: The Unsexy Truth About Startup Success, with lots of examples from the region. And there's a Bulgarian co-founder of a company called Lean Plum, and they're doing fantastic. It's a Silicon Valley based at the moment, close to be an unicorn. Like, really, a lot of fantastic things they do. At the early stages of the company, they had some assumptions and hypotheses. What, who needs our product? What should the product should look like? But they went to a conference, two co-founders, and literally it was a 2 or 3 day conference. They were like, "You talk to 100 people, I talk to 100 people." They had a list of all the developers or tech people that potentially would use their product. Each of them went talking. Hey, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, let me buy your coffee, whatever. 200 after 200 small conversations, they figured out this is not our customer. Actually, the person who might be buying this is a different role in the company. It's a different
mm-hmm.
size
Mm-hmm.
company, and what they're
Mm-hmm.
interested in is actually something else. And why wasting so much time and energy
Yeah.
in building something, and after 6 months or 12 months, it's like, oh, nobody needs that. We need to pivot. Well, why did you waste it in the first place?
Mm-hmm. That's straight to the point, Stoyan, and actually it's connected to the second, huge mistakes that founders usually do, which is not understanding who their client exactly is. Yeah. So you can act on a specific niche. We can say, I don't know, let's say marketing agencies. Yeah, just to mention one. Okay, I'm targeting marketing agencies, but marketing agencies are very different. Yeah, not just in terms of size, but you can have also freelancers, that can act as a marketing agency by themselves. There are small marketing agencies. They are not exactly marketing agencies, but they are working with the media outlets, for example. Yeah, and having marketing services around that. So this is just an example, but you need to really segment your client base so that you understand. And I used to define it: the red, the yellow, and the green. Yeah, who's the green? That is the one that is the easiest one to sell, because they will talk to you and they will say, this is the money, give me the product. Yeah, the yellow are the ones that could, they still a fit, but you can convince it. It's going to cost you a little bit more of effort. Yeah, but then there are the red, which you are not ready for those yet. Maybe your product will be ready for them in future. So you work on the product development to fit for the red. Uh, a lot of people really don't do this reasoning and do not create a proper segmentation for the clients, which in turn create a delay in what the traction could be.
By the way, just to add another metaphor here, which I was also much fascinated by, so we also included it in the book, is by Mik Lubinskas, and he uses the metaphor: will your customer walk through broken glass in order to have your product? The broken glass test, right? Because you might build a product that is nice to have, and you talk to people, yeah, that sounds nice, but is this the segment that actually has so much pain that you can solve? And do you actually start with this segment? You can always kind of scale afterwards to the other segments, as you said, with the green, yellow, and red. But who's the customer that really has enormous pain that you can solve?
Yes, very true. Very, very true. And now I'm thinking that I recently have a conversation with a friend of mine that I wasn't seeing for a long time. He's a great guy. He's has been an executive in huge companies here in Czech Republic, and is currently working for a company in Czech Republic that does the work with startup too. So, and they works on validation of the ideas. Yeah. Their business model is built around the fact that they help startups creating their idea at the beginning and building it up, kind of a sort of pre-incubation phase, let's say, and pre-validation for the ideas. And there is a book that we both read, and it's called The Mom Test. Yeah. Rob Fitzpatrick is the author of the book, and it's actually saying, hey, if you talk about your idea with your mom, this is kind of the core. Your mom will love it, and will always love it, no matter if this is completely BS. Yeah. So make sure that you explain and talk to your mom about your business, so that she can give you an objective feedback. Yeah. So make sure that you ask the question in a way that even your mom will say, darling, this is not a good idea. When she will never do that, because it's your mom.
I love that, man. The mom test.
The mom test.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic way to say, if I treat it as it's your mom and really get her to give me the everything. Well, honey, I love that, but this maybe it's not gonna work, right?
Yeah.
So good, man. So good. Let's talk a little bit about the investability. I don't know if that's a word, but you're an investor, and there's many companies that are going through, your with pitches, with sending you materials, and I wonder if you can maybe look into a recent example of a startup that you guys invested in, and what were the factors that made you say, yes, this is it, we need to bet on this horse.
Mhm. So I think that one thing that any early stage investor has learned since the dot-com bubble is that you don't invest in businesses, you invest in people. Yeah. And this sounds like a little bit of a cliche, but this is very, very true. Yeah. Because no matter what the business could be looking like today, you have always time to repivot, to change, to adjusting, to try and fail, to learn, and to make something successful out of something that at the beginning wasn't. Yeah. But it always comes to the traits that the founder has. So the first thing you look at as an investor is this the right person for this project? Yeah. And it's the first thing that you need to ask yourself, because you could be the right person from a part of the project, but then you need to fulfill the gaps with your co-founders, and then the team is going to be the perfect team for that project. Yeah. Again, mentioning another book, there is talking about, like, when you start a business, the role that the original founder, that unique founder has, because it's always kind of starting with one person, involving other people. Can be more, but there is one that is the kind of the first pushing the idea forward. Is that at the beginning you are three roles at once. You are the visionary, you are the manager, and you are the technical person. You know, if you want to grow, you need to learn how to delegate those tasks to your co-founders, so that you take care of one and you do a good job just on that. Yeah. If you are a CEO, yeah, you should be a CEO only. So you will be the kind of visionary person. Yeah. You need a COO to take care of the daily operations, and you need your CTO to take care of the technicality. You cannot do all at once. Yeah. So at the beginning, it's great when you find a person that is the three things at one, but has already built the right team, so that those things are already delegated, so that this person that has the three role perfectly fitting for the business is doing and the industry is working on. Yeah. But has also the team to delegate those activities that he well understand anyway. Yeah. So this is one important thing, one important trait, yeah, that you can spot pretty much soon
Mm.
when you
And
talk
when
to
you
the.
talk about team, can you maybe also? I think it will be relevant for the audience to hear. What do you look at? Is it the coachability? Is it did they have a very good match in terms of diversity of skill set and com- what is it that you, when you look at the team factor, that for you is like, okay, this this team works.
Mhm. Yeah. So again, there is no exact blueprint, I would say, because you know, let's imagine the startup or this specific environment as a puzzle. Yeah, you have different pieces. There is one way to put together those pieces to create a specific picture. Yeah, but there is also another way to put together those pieces, creating a different picture. Both of them could be successful. So there is no exact, let's say, recipe to that. Yeah, but there is the right recipe. Yeah, that not the right recipe, but you know that there are some ingredients that are a must. Yeah, the presence of those doesn't tell you that you will be a success, but the not presence of those will probably tell you it's very unlikely that they will success. Yeah. So those are industry knowledge, and I start from the hard facts. Yeah, industry knowledge. If you are creating a solution for somebody you don't even know, how do you believe you're going to create a product that is going to fit for them? Yeah. So the the fact that you are creating a product for a specific industry should come with the fact that you understand this industry. And if you don't have experience in that industry, that experience can be built. Yeah. And of course, there are people that are faster learners than others. So it's not that you have to be working in the specific industry where you are creating your startup for 10, 15 years. That could mean something, but it doesn't have to, right? But the knowledge of the problem within the industry will give the investors a higher security in the risking their investment. Yeah, because you know all the little connections, you know the synergies of your thing within the business. You know people, you have a network already on that field because you have worked on that, because you have spending time on that. So there are many different things that are clicking when you are an expert in the industry you want to act in. So this is a very important thing. The other thing is the ability to sell, which I wouldn't put as a second, but I want to mention just the very first two, hard one and soft skill related. Yeah. So I think it was Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street guy, who was saying that if you are not able to sell, like don't even try to open your business, because it's all about that. Yeah, you can have a great product, but if you are not able to convey the value to the people you're talking to, nobody will buy it.
What would you say to these founders that are like, yeah, we'll build this great product and then we'll hire a head of sales to sell it? Because I'm not into sales.
The CEO is the first sale of the company. The founders are the first sale of the company. Yeah, because it's not just that they will make the first sales, but they will also set up the process. They will set up the environment, the policies, the mentality for the people to sell the product. If you're not able to do that, will you be able to motivate other people to do that for you? How easy is that? Yeah. So that's an important point, and I think pretty core for a founding team.
Mhm. Okay, so these two, the hard ones you started with, what else should be there in a team?
The other thing is that you see the fact that the founders are open to listen. Yeah, because nobody in this world is perfect. We all make mistakes, and the more we are able to grasp knowledge from the outside world, the more we are able to grow. The same thing is for the business. Often happen that founders say, okay, but I've been told this is like this, and we will go for this. And you do not realize that this is a feedback just of a couple of people. And you should bake up your assumptions by data. Yeah. And analyze those data from different perspectives if you want to make sure that you're going to do well. And when you see that somebody spending time and is making an effort to do this kind of rationale, reasoning behind the numbers they're presenting, the way they present specific information to you, that is backed up by data and assumptions that have a substantial amount of information and research behind, you see that this is definitely a plus. Because the only way that we have to kind of predict the future is understanding the past. Understanding the past means analyzing the data that you have at hand today. Yeah, and you could do that for a very long time. So you also need to understand when to stop, because otherwise you go on into the procrastination phase. You would never believe you are good enough, and you will never do anything. And you will teach me about this, Stoyan.
Right. So okay, let's say team is in a good place. I'm curious to get a specific example, Angelo. Like if you can reflect and think of, you know, there was this team, we did our research on them, we met them, and it was like it was a no-brainer. These guys, we need to invest in them. And what was it in them that for you was like, yeah, that's it. These are the 3-4 features we found in them that made us believe this is a good bet.
Okay, so let me mention one of the latest investment we did. Maybe it's also a person that you know, because actually we met this founder with my colleague at the latest Wolf Summit event. Yeah. The founder is called Dima. The company name is Pandatron. It's one of the latest investment that we closed. And as I told you, the first thing was the perfect match, the chemistry with the founder. Yeah, we immediately had the feeling that this guy is trustable, is relatable, is talking straight to the point, has a practical approach. He knows how to sell, how to present and convey information properly. So I will buy things from him. It's enjoyable. Yeah, it's a nice person to talk to. You don't want to talk with jerks. It's not enjoyable. Yeah, right. So I will also not buy some stuff or products, services from somebody that is not likable, right? So all those traits were there, and we practically start engaging a conversation with him, and pretty fast we found a match. Because the team was also set up in a nice way. All the components from the industry expertise were present. The problem that they were addressing was acting in a great market, which is in the space of coaching, yeah, corporate coaching. So interesting for you. I don't know if you, Stoyan, do remember that guy.
I do. I do. I haven't really dig into what exactly they do, but we
Yeah,
had a few conversations on
yeah,
coffee,
yeah.
during the conference. But
So
that
the
that
the co-
sounds great, man. That sounds. I mean, it's such a great example of what the things are, and it leads me to a question we actually explored a little bit before the podcast started. But I think it's really important, especially for the stage founder, to hear is the how do we find an investor that actually matches? Because I feel like sometimes um, founders, when they hear that somebody is interested in investing in them, they don't even do the due diligence. They don't even think about who's the person that is investing in me. Do we share similar values? Do we have a match in terms of personalities, the way we see things? And that leads to often really negative experiences in the future of, okay, they gave us the money and stuff, but they treated us as assholes, right? And so I'm wondering, how what is your take on that? And how do we actually, as founders, look at investors and try and put ourselves in the same stage, not just like we are here, investor is here, but hey, this is a partnership. How do we shift this mindset?
Yeah, and I think that the very first thing that will really help is understanding that the job of an investor is very, very difficult. It's not easy job at all. It's not that you are spreading money around those projects, yeah, with a certainty that you're gonna make big bucks. But it's a really, the odds are not that big at the end of the day. So you as a founder need to understand that, for example, while negotiating specific conditions on a contract, there is a 90% of the cases more unbalanced toward the needs of the startups rather than the investors, even at the beginning. And I'm talking specific on the early stage, yeah, because I'm also not a huge expert of scale up, the scale up word, yeah, but I can position myself as a person with some good knowledge in the early stage phase of the startups. Yeah, you cannot be good at everything, and there's always somebody better than you anyway. So is that you understand what the investor is looking for, yeah, and why is trying to get this condition rather than this other condition. Um, what is the rationale that it does in this sense, and this apply for the condition and terms, yeah, of an investment, but it also apply for the decision if these investors is a good one for us or not. Yeah. I think that the very first thing that a founder should do, yeah, is try to get the investors that will help them growing once they have demonstrated the value. Because first of all, you don't get without giving anything. You're getting money already. Yeah. Once you get money, like okay, you are expecting like the investor to help you, but try to give first, demonstrate, yeah, your value. Then the investor will be even more than happy to to spend time on you, yeah, to help you even more, because investors are people. You need to motivate them too, no? So if the investors has a portfolio of 24, 30, 35 companies, it cannot be, yeah, motivated the same way for all of those. So the leader of a company, of a startup, that is also getting in a conversation with investors, and as the investors as a shareholder of their company, should be able to motivate all the stakeholders, including investors, yeah, if they want to extract the most out of it. So this is why the people component is important, together with the
What
network.
motivates you, and Angelo? Just, I think it's a great one. What motivates you? Like, is it they send me reports and they generate traction? They're positive. They like. What are the things that motivate you to prioritize more of your time and energy to help this startup?
So what motivates me is how the founders are motivated themselves to spend their time into the product development and the company development, and how able are they to uh, kind of show this this spark that they have inside. Yeah, I can kind of feel it when they would do everything to make this company a success. Yeah, and I kind of feel it, and when I feel it strong enough, that's what motivates me, kind of.
So listen carefully, everyone who's in this space, and everybody who's looking into fundraising at some point. These are fantastic pieces of advice from somebody who's an investor, and hopefully you can really put yourself in the shoes of an investor and start in thinking from their perspective as well, and think of what's in it for me if I'm the investor, right? As Angelo said, it's a very risky thing to invest in a startup. Like, what is the percentage of startups actually making it and making a lot? And I can imagine usually it's about, okay, I'm going to invest in many. I'll try to do my best bets, but then I know that one or two from this will really take off, and maybe a couple more will be in a good place, but then the rest will be probably fail, right? So how can you create value? The value mindset, like, not what's in it for me. Okay, great, it needs to be an equal thing, but what if you start giving first? What if you start being the cool guy that's connecting people, generating value out of the investment thing? And this is another thing about building relationship. And I'm curious, Angela, maybe as a final question here is, if somebody is looking into raising, let's say in May, how early should they start building relationships with investors?
As soon as they can, as soon as they
Yesterday.
can, yesterday. Because it's exactly the same as the validation of the product, validation of the idea. Yeah, you need to try to have all the pieces of the puzzle on your table. Yeah, and try to understand how to match them after. So try to have all the pieces on your table, and then you understand how to connect them. Yeah, because you know what you could know is what you need. And nowadays we can find information everywhere: podcast, books like yours. There is a ton of information on the internet that you can use, so you know what the pieces are. So try to understand those pieces early, yeah, and do your homework sooner rather than later.
And follow-up question. I said final question, but it's a sub-question, so I'll use the opportunity. Is the how? What is the best way to be a for an investor to be approached, like yourself, for example? There's a startup out there, and they want to reach out to you, and I'm sure you're receiving hundreds of decks and emails and stuff. What's the best way to for you to be approached in a value creation mode? So you can say, I'm going to take my time to actually look into what these guys are doing.
So I wouldn't talk about the channel because it would be whatever. Could be LinkedIn, could be the direct email, yeah, could be even our form on our website. What is important is really the first 3 pages of the deck. Yeah, because as you say, all the investors get many hundred of decks on a weekly basis. Yeah, so the first 3 pages are very important. Yeah, so make sure that those 3 first pages are great. And I'm always happy to connect with people on LinkedIn. Of course, the response time could be difficult to manage, but I will end up responding pretty much to everyone, positively or negatively in any case. So no, not negatively, not that I will not be polite, but
Yeah, I'm not interested. Got it. So Jello, where could maybe just to finalize, who would be the people that might be a good match for the AI Startup Incubator? What kind of companies would be a good match
okay.
potentially? How can they get in touch with you, with them? Let's just
Yeah,
wrap it up with where could people find you?
sure. So we invest in artificial intelligence startups mainly from Europe, but virtually from all over the world. We have invested in a company in US, in Bangladesh, in UK. Now our portfolio is various in this. The core is EU, so that's where we look for companies the most, but we are not limited to that. What we really look for is great founders with ideas that can make a disruption in huge markets. So we are also now expanding because on top of the incubator, we are currently raising a new VC fund. So we are also going to be able to invest in even more projects that we were able to do before, and with higher tickets and also at higher level of maturity. So this is, I think, a great time if any AI startup funder want to connect with us, because we are going to invest in many startups across the next 2 to 3 years. And important things to remember is that for us, there are no limitation whatsoever in terms of relocation or number of founders coming from a specific country, because we are 100% private. So we are able to invest virtually in startups that are at different phases, at different stages of maturity, with no specific issue on revenue or other kind of challenges that founders may have with specific funds that are not 100% private, for example. And on top of this, our great, let's say, point for collaboration is our expertise in the artificial intelligence space. Because not because of me personally, because I'm not a software engineer, but with our team of software engineers, which is led by Martin Dostal, which is my colleague, and he's a PhD and researchers and software engineers specialized in machine learning and human-to-computer interaction. So we always establish a channel of communication with our startups founder, and we take care of the AI component, because it's pretty critical, and it's not gold everything that shine, how people used to say. Yeah, so you need to set up things well sooner rather than later to not have problem in the future. Because the artificial intelligence component could be a great weapon to success, but it could be costly. So you need to be able to understand how to set it up properly, and we come with a huge expertise thanks to our team capabilities to help funders with artificial intelligence.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Angelo. You heard the man. suincubator.ai. If you want to learn more about it, if you want to connect with him, you can go to LinkedIn, send him your deck. Make sure that you have the first 3 pages right, and from the deck. And for those of you who's listened to this episode and really enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to Productivity Mastery Podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all other major platforms. If you enjoyed this episode, obviously share it with a friend that might be in the same space and might benefit from it. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and see you once again at the next episode of Productivity Mastery, where we'll talk about a very interesting topic. It's going to be mindful self discipline. So, have a great day, everybody, and see you again at the next episode.
Cheers, guys.